Breaking news. Verdict reached in Ghislaine Maxwell sex trafficking trial. Hold up. What is it then? Jury reaches verdict in the trial of Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Oh my lord. Okay. So the jury has reached a verdict in the criminal trial of Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime associate of serial sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, who is facing charges related to alleged abuse and trafficking of underage girls. Maxwell faces 6 count of indictment for allegedly conspiring with and aiding Epstein in his sexual abuse of underage girls between 1994 and 2004. She has been held without bail since her arrest in July 2020 and has pleaded not guilty to the charges. If convicted, Maxwell could spend decades in prison. Whew, this is spicy, dude. This is spicy. Not every day do you ever see justice get served, and I hope this is one of those circumstances that is different, you know? Judge Nathan says we have a verdict. Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm giddy. The anticipation. This is crazy. This is actually crazy. Whew. Okay, listen. A lot of people have stated, and by a lot of people I mean the defense, has stated that this basically is a proxy case for Jeffrey Epstein. And to those people I say, yes, but there's nothing wrong with that, because Ghislaine Maxwell is, in my opinion at the very least, guilty of not only participating, but also handling the logistics of the sex trafficking that Jeffrey Epstein was engaging in. So think it'll help with the overall investigation if she's actually indicted? Well, you can only hope for like just a crumb of fucking solace, which I don't even know if the victims will ever feel that in this circumstance, because, you know. So the issue here is that there is no codified law around what we all colloquially understand as grooming, right? When you mention grooming, like, people understand what the fuck grooming is for the most part, but there is no specific law around it. And a part of the prosecution's case in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial revolves around getting the jury to understand that Ghislaine Maxwell, if not directly sexually assaulted, but also made these victims feel more comfortable with the sexual assault by normalizing that kind of sexual behavior, despite the fact that these girls were very young, some 16, some 14 allegedly, and some, 17, and the abuse continued throughout the years. There's a physical participation here as well, but a big part of the aiding and abetting comes from Ghislaine Maxwell's direct involvement in the form of grooming and helping the coercion. It's like she was participating in it, but also more importantly than participating in it as it pertains to this trial, because the evidence on that is not as solid, but especially because of, how long ago it was, that she was personally normalizing that kind of behavior, like massaging Jeffrey Epstein and trying to get others, the young girls, to not feel scared about their position. Do you think she's going to Epstein in video game stuff? No. I don't think so. I'm surprised that she wasn't Epsteined to begin with.
Moving around the courthouse here, we've been on
breaking news! Oh, let's fucking go! Ghislaine Maxwell found guilty on count 1, not guilty on count 2, count 3 guilty, count 4 guilty, count 5 guilty, count 6 guilty. Found guilty on 5 of the 6 counts. We'll go over them right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and MBs. Adam Klasfeld is the managing director of Law Crime News. Here are some of the counts. Count 1. Conspiracy to entice individuals under the age of 17 to travel in interstate commerce with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Guilty. Count 2. Enticement of an individual under the age of 17, Jane only, to travel with the intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Unfortunately, not guilty. Count 3. Conspiracy to transport individuals under the age of 17 to travel in interstate commerce with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Guilty. Count 4. Transportation of an individual under the age of 17, Jane only, with intent to engage in illegal sexual activity. Guilty. Conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of individuals under the age of 18. Guilty. Sex trafficking of an individual under the age of 18, Carolyn only. Guilty. Whew. Oh man, that's good. It's kind of wild that that justice was served.
That what Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Maxwell did is just one of the most disgusting.
The sex trafficking part is the worst part of it, okay? It's 40 fucking years, baby.
Essentially spend the rest of her life in jail.
Bro, the real suicide watch is not on Ghislaine Maxwell, but Geraldo Rivera, #1 ally to Ghislaine Maxwell throughout this entire process, okay? How the fuck is he feeling? Maybe Fox News should tune in to see what his take is on the matter. Him and Prince Andrew are literally going to go to an island and hang out together to be like, we might be a little fucked, bruv. Chad, is this fucked up? My thoughts are with the Clinton family in this trying time as their close and personal best friend pictured front and center at Chelsea Clinton's wedding is going to federal prison for sex trafficking minors. Oh, I'm sending this. I love that every time I ask Chad if it's fucked up, you guys say it is, and then collectively, that's fucked up, run that shit. Okay, posting the Elon one, I'm gonna get assassinated now. Like, I feel like this one is, I'm like asking to be fucking murdered by an exploding Tesla or something. I mean, I did it, but it's a little, that one was a little touch and go.
The defense.
Bro, that's crazy.
Well, I think the prosecution was
that's
just
crazy.
as meticulous. The
Oh
prosecution,
no! Not all, bruv.
Starting off with
Not
a victim
Piers
who was
fucking
14
Morgan,
years old.
bruv. What the fuck are you doing then? It's me. You know who actually should be fucking, I mean, not worried, but is probably sad. Boris Johnson, who may or may not have had sex with Ghislaine Maxwell. I wish Judge Allison J. Nathan a very happy district court position after this, or sorry, not district, Second Circuit court position.
The defense alleged that Epstein was keeping secrets from Maxwell. The defense attorney said everybody knew it except her. And they argued that the case relied on these flawed memories and fabricated stories of the accusers. But in the end, it appears the jury.
Or they try to do an officer daddy on Ghislaine, like a prolific sex trafficker. They were like, she's just a little old woman. She doesn't know any better.
And the evidence was overwhelming. It was astounding. There was a mountain of evidence that pointed to that. And even though Jeffrey Epstein either killed himself or, well, he committed suicide.
Let's go! She didn't want to say it! Let's go! I respect that. She didn't want to say it. She said it, but she was like, either killed himself or suicided. I'll take it. Crazy to think how far we have come. Where just a crumb of justice can be served towards high-profile, royalty-adjacent, international sex traffickers. Shout out to her family. This beat was to fight international sex trafficking. No. The BBC did not have... Oh my God. Are you fucking serious? The BBC did not have Alan Dershowitz on. The Dersh, dude? Wow, BBC has Alan Dershowitz on their program. He's saying how this all weakens Virginia Jeffrey's case. Unreal. It's the exact opposite. No. That's crazy. That's madness. It's kind of weird that the BBC engages in this kind of behavior. Who is he? Alan Dershowitz? Famous Harvard law professor, Alan Dersh, who originally helped sex offender Jeffrey Epstein get a plea deal, who then unprompted, if you recall, posted about age of consent laws on Twitter. You remember that? That was a weird one, right? Yeah. Virginia Jeffrey had also named Alan Dershowitz, who, what did he say? Alan Dershowitz, who famously got Norm Finkelstein fired for his advocacy for Palestinian rights and Palestinian liberation, who got him blacklisted. Alan Dershowitz, who famously, what else did he do? He did so much. Oh, Alan Dershowitz, who famously said, the only woman I've ever had sex with is my wife and nobody else. At Alan Dershowitz, I've always had my underwear on in every interaction that I've had with Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, he was a part of the O.J. Simpson defense team. Yes, that guy, the Dersh. The fact that he's in the media all the time is wonderful, though. I got a fun little reminder, too. You guys remember this one? Remember this, dude?
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. Do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? I know you've talked in the past about Prince Andrew.
I don't know the situation with Prince Andrew. Just don't know. Not aware of it. That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
Wait, what? No way he said that? I'd never heard that before. Dude, there's no shot. He said this in 2015?
Cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it. The island was an absolute cesspool.
I've never heard him say that. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know he fucking said that. I mean, I knew he knew who the fuck Prince Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell was, but I didn't know. Pierce is totally not sweating. Wait, what is he saying? Oh, God, what is he saying? Vile sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell now sing like a canary to avoid spending the rest of her life in prison? If she does, there could be a lot of rich, powerful, and famous people sweating tonight and not sweating. Are you sweating, Mr. Piers Morgan? Are you sweating tonight, sir? Indubitably. Indubitably. I do declare that mayhaps you yourself are sweating, my good sir. After all, sir, you yourself have had quite the relationship with a certain Ghislaine Maxwell. Rumor has it the torture at Gitmo is just audio repeats of your British accent. My British accent is good, dude. You're such a fucking liar, dude. You're such a Weasley little liar. A shiny glamazon with naughty eyes holding court astride a table, a high-heeled boot resting on my brother Boris's thigh. Oh, yeah. See, for those of you who are wondering what I was talking about with respect to Boris, Boris Johnson. That's right, the Prime Minister. Boris Johnson used to be the editor of this wonderful drab, The Spectator, right? And his sister, Rachel Johnson, recently on November 17th, 2021, wrote an article saying it's hard not to pity Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, one would try to comprehend why, as to The Spectator would allow such a insanity to be published on this wonderful newspaper. Well, it's because that's what happens when you're a Tory, and that's what happens when you are in high society in Britland. That's right. Being a nonce is like an Olympic sport within the Tory party. But yeah, she wrote this. Boris Johnson's sister literally wrote this article and basically outed Boris Johnson for having sex with Ghislaine, or potentially having sex with Ghislaine. Yes, right here. All right, let's read this real quick. It's hard not to feel a bat squeak of pity for Ghislaine Maxwell. 500 days and counting in solitary confinement. I intersected briefly with her at Oxford. As a fresher, I wandered into Balliol JCR one day in search of its subsidized breakfast granola and Nescafe offering, and found a shiny glamazon with naughty eyes holding court astride a table, a high-heeled boot resting on my brother Boris's thigh. She's talking about Ghislaine Maxwell right now. This is Boris Johnson's sister talking about Ghislaine Maxwell and Boris Johnson hanging out at university, saying a high-heeled boot resting on my brother Boris's thigh. Dude, the British are so fucking crazy. They just openly admit shit like this. I don't know why. She gave me a pitying glance, but I did manage to snag an invite to a party in Headington Hill Hall, even though I wasn't in the same college as her and Boris. I have memory of her father, Bob, who is an agent, by the way, was famously, before owning newspapers, was literally working with Mossad. Did not stop working with Mossad during his tenure or during his ownership of the newspapers either, famously. I have memory of her father, Bob, coming out in a toweling robe and telling us all to go home. I'm sure fair-weather friends would not reveal they went to a Ghislaine Maxwell party. As Barbara Emile's brilliant memoir, Friends and Enemies, proves, you only know who your real chums are when you're in the gutter. So, are you saying you're a chum to Ghislaine Maxwell when she's in the gutter? Or can they get away with writing shit like this and openly doing self-reports as sport? Because it doesn't matter, because even the BBC is going to turn around and like have Alan Dershowitz on to analyze Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction without any reference to his background. He simply introduces a constitutional lawyer as if he's a neutral expert. I mean, how nuts is that, guys? Do you understand? This guy literally helped Jeffrey Epstein and is also one of the assailants in other court cases by Jeffrey Epstein's victims. So why the fuck? Why the fuck would the BBC, who like only last week had Pinochet's cousin as the average voter, you know, giving his unbiased take on a socialist being elected to leadership in Britland, then turn around and do this?
Well, I think the most important thing, particularly for British workers, is that the government was very careful who it used as witnesses. It did not use as a witness the woman who accused Prince Andrew, accused me, accused many other people, because the government didn't believe.
He self-reported on that. Like, he brought it up, dude. The Dersh! Motherfucker can't stop himself. The Dersh!
She was telling the truth. In fact, she, Virginia Giuffre, was mentioned in the trial as somebody who brought young people to Epstein for him to abuse. And so this case does nothing at all to strengthen in any way the case against Prince Andrew. Indeed.
Wait, yo, he just said Virginia Giuffre, as a victim, simultaneously played a role in bringing young girls into the fold. Okay, but you hung out with him and you defended him, the Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, and you were also a part of the massage sequences, but you also are now admitting that there were young girls there. What the fuck is going on? He's like, yeah, you know, young girls were brought in, but, you know, they were brought in by the lady who was a young girl at the time. Therefore, you know, I'm absolved. Yeah, I'm sorry. He did say he wore underwear every time he was around Jeffrey Epstein, something along those lines. I wore an underwear. It means nothing. Wild that the BBC had Jeffrey Epstein's personal best friend and lawyer to come and belittle one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims and say that she's a lawyer on national television. This is completely psychotic.
Selective in who it used. It used only witnesses who they believed were credible, and they deliberately didn't use the main witness, the woman who started the whole investigation, Virginia Giuffre, because ultimately they didn't believe she was telling the truth. They didn't believe that a jury would believe her, and they were right in doing so. So it was very smart on the part of the government.
Yeah, his only take here on the trial is Virginia Giuffre. I wonder why. That's so strange. They had constitutional lawyer Alan Dershowitz to come talk about Ghislaine Maxwell, and his only take is to belittle Virginia Giuffre, a victim of Jeffrey Epstein.
And yet,
even this guy's like, okay, this is not what we were expecting. I thought you were simply a constitutional lawyer. What is happening? And then they'll just apologize the next day and release a statement. Last night's interview with Alan Dershowitz and Ghislaine Maxwell after the Ghislaine Maxwell verdict did not meet the BBC's editorial standards, as Mr. Dershowitz was not a suitable person to interview as an impartial analyst, and we did not make the relevant background clear to our audience. You know who made the background clear to their audience? Alan Dershowitz, when he kept routinely and in the most like nonchalant way possible mentioned that he was also being accused of rape alongside Jeffrey Epstein as a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. Sorry, we will look into how this happened. Oh, how did it happen? Very, very crazy. What a crazy thing. How could this have happened? Oh, no.
Along with Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. Full disclosure, Professor Dershowitz once represented Epstein and is currently being sued by Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre for defamation.
Dude, Fox News had better journalistic integrity than the BBC. I'm dying. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so glad we saw this. Fox News had better journalistic integrity than the motherfucking BBC. Oh, get that, oi bruvs. Oh, take that shit, oi bruvs. Let me tell you something. It's still fucked that they had him on. Unacceptable. Okay? But my Lord, that is fucking awesome, dude. That makes me so happy to see. Oh, the rare American. Well, it's not a rare one, you know. When Fox News is doing a better job, holy shit. Would it take that, England? Okay? You blew it like you blew the 13 colony lead, baby. Oh, my Lord.
Professor, as you know, you've denied all wrongdoing in multiple previous appearances on this program and is countersuing Giuffre. Professor, let me start with you as someone who has been caught up in this. When you look at this verdict, what's your main takeaway?
Well, my main takeaway is that the government was smart enough not to use Virginia Giuffre as a witness. This is the woman who.
Why is that your main takeaway? Why is your main takeaway about Virginia Giuffre? Like, I don't understand how that's your main takeaway from this. Well, the real reason why that's his main takeaway from this is because it impacts him. That's the real reason why that's his takeaway. And this is precisely why it's like really psychotic to have him on, even if you give a disclaimer. So don't get me wrong. Fox News is still bullshit, okay?
Who's accused me, who's accused Prince Andrew, who's accused Senator Mitchell, who's accused Ambassador Richardson, who's accused...
Let's go. Pile it up, baby. Woo!
Ehud Barak. She accused anybody who she could find in Jeffrey Epstein's Rolodex. And the government very smartly didn't use her as a witness. She would have been the key witness if she were credible, but the government simply didn't believe her. So today was a good day for those people who were accused by her, like Prince Andrew and the others who I mentioned. As far as Ghislaine Maxwell is concerned, the government put on witnesses. The witnesses were believed. The jury did come to its conclusion. There will be an appeal. Appeals are always uphill, but there are some issues. There's a statute of limitations issue. After all, some of these things occurred almost 30 years ago. It was back in 1994. So there'll be concerns about the statute of limitations, some other issues. But right now, she faces a significant prison sentence.
By the way, I just got to interrupt this broadcast for another fire take that I've been seeing on the timeline. Radfems, shut the fuck up challenge, impossible difficulty, okay? I personally love seeing Radfems, Radlibs, people like Amy Siskin, who has fucking banned me or blocked me, always give takes like this. It's one of the funniest it's one of the funniest circumstances, okay? 44,000 likes. Don't get me wrong. Let Maxwell rot in jail and throw away the key. But how about the misogyny in our country and legal system that only a woman has been held accountable? while the men who sexually abuse and enable the abuse of children have suffered no consequences. Bro, here is one of those instances where it's like, maybe you shouldn't girl boss right now. Maybe you shouldn't girl boss in this moment. Because, like, as a girl boss, you're right that, like, well, not in this case, but, like, you're right that, you know, we do have a lot of misogyny, okay? But in this circumstance, you're just insane to bring it up. And especially in such terms like, oh, all the men got away with it. It's like, first of all, women got away with it too. Hillary Clinton.